Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Art of Making Comics, or shall we say the other half. Today we're going to talk about when you get really serious about making your comics and making it last and keep making them. You're going to have to make yourself a business out of it. And I want to talk about the things involved in doing that, and also the things involved in getting ready for doing conventions and stuff like I had talked about in the previous video. Okay, so first off, one thing that I wish I had done real early on, and I want to give you the advice to do, is get your name. Like I chose Omen Comics, right? And I got lucky on that nobody had actually trademarked the name or anything. However, somebody did buy the web domain for it, and because of that I didn't get it, and somebody already had the email for it, like on Gmail. And so because of that, I didn't get I couldn't just get Omen Comics. I had to get some, variation of it or whatever. And I wish I had gotten in there and did that early, so that I wasn't facing that now that I'm over a year into this. But definitely you wanna find a name that is unique, but says something about you. Like, for instance, the Blood Moon is a central part of the Tetra and Omega story that we're all currently writing, and it's it's central around the character itself, Omen. And so I made both Omen Comics the name and the Blood Moon as the symbol, because I thought that was like the ultimate picture version of what you would consider an omen. Like, when someone thinks omen, they would think blood moon, or some variation of that, some kind of sign in the heavens or something. And I thought blood moon was the most recognizable, and so that's what I went with. Luckily, when I went to trademark and register the logo, that hadn't been taken, and so I lucked out there. But it is not that easy. I've heard many stories about people who wanted to name the band or whatever, tons of different things, and all of them, they just kept typing them into Google to check them, and somebody else already had them, and somebody else already had it. And but another thing you want to check is, like, go on to the GoDaddy site, where they have web domains there, and find out what is available on there as far as a web domain. For instance, my label is actually called Omen Comics, and I have this kind of subtitle of the Omenverse. And I couldn't actually get let me preface this. It turns out that when it comes to web domains, people will buy them from GoDaddy for like $12, and then they will buy every variation of it, the .com, the .net, or whatever, and then they will sell that to you for like $300. For instance, somebody had already bought the name OmenComics.com, and they weren't doing anything with it. They simply bought it so that they could sell it. They were waiting for somebody like me who wanted it and hoped that I would pay them $300. Well, I did not. Luckily, I had that subtitle of the Omen verse, and so I got to get omenverse.com. But getting stuff like that early is important. It could save you a lot of money, and it makes recognizability easier. And you really don't want to have a situation where, like, you've been going on for months and people know you under one name, and then you suddenly realize you can't copyright that name, or you can't get the website or whatever, and so you have to change the name of your business. You have to change the name of your label, and then you lose some of the recognizability that you've established. So picking your name and checking for it and making sure the stuff is available is a very important way to start there. In fact, and I personally got a Gmail account for Omen Comics. You're going to want to have your own email address for that, so you're not using your personal email for business stuff. And next, at least now, this is when you do get your name, you have to make sure you get that web domain early. You want to make sure you get that email, all that stuff we're talking about. But you also want to register and trademark your logo early. You want to make sure that you hold on to all of that, just to sum that up there. Once you have that established, at least here in California, this is what I had to do. Since Omen Comics was the name, I had to go to the city of Susanville here and get a fictitious name statement, which basically means I have a business and I'm not calling it, I didn't call it Michael Nunneley's Omenverse, I called it Omen Comics. And because of that, it's not actually my name, so hence the fictitious name statement. In order for that fictitious name statement to be valid, you have to actually, I had to put Omen Comics listed as a business in the local newspaper for 4 weeks. And once I had done that, I could take that fictitious name statement into a bank and open up a bank account under the name Omen Comics. And that's what you're going to need to do. You definitely want to keep track of every single penny you make and every single penny you spend. Trust me, it's all going to come up later when you're talking about taxes and you're talking about trying to get loans and all kinds of stuff. You want to make sure that you're not, don't do what I did in the beginning and just sell things frivolously. It's not a good idea. You want to make sure you keep a record of all of that, and having your own bank account under that name helps make that easier, because all the charges and everything that happens in that bank account is all related to your business, and so you don't have to sort through the statements to try and pick out which ones were business and which ones weren't. They all are. That's just my recommendation anyway. So the next step is going to be the business license. Now, business license, I had to go again to the city of Susanville, and you apply for it, and apparently several people got to go over your application, and then they decide that you get it. I haven't heard about anybody not getting one. So I mean, I don't think I don't think the qualifications are really all that high. But anyway, and then in a few weeks they send you out your business license. Now, after you get your business license, in order to sell things, and again, this is in the state of California, you're going to have to get what's called a seller's permit. Now, I wrote down the address here. The seller's permit you can get online. You're going to the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration online, and the address is onlineservices.cdtfa.ca.gov, and you go on there. You can uh, log in, and you can sign up for a seller's permit. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just kind of a pain in the butt registration process. And I personally had to call the 1-800 number that they provide there to get some help going through that, because they asked some questions I just didn't understand. And at least one case I was on the wrong screen. But they were totally helpful. I mean, more helpful than any governmental office or employees I've ever dealt with. They totally walked me through it, and they were really nice and respectful about it. It was great. So, seller's permit has to be gotten through the state of California, and you're going to need that going to conventions. If you go to a convention here in California, you need to show them that seller's permit, or they won't let you sell there at the convention. That's very important. Next, you're going to need to do you're going to need to figure out how you're going to take credit cards. The easiest, best way, in my opinion, is with Square. You can just go to square.com and sign up and register. It's really, really easy, and link your bank account to it and all that. And afterwards, you can take credit cards. It's just a matter of getting a device. I'm even getting a Square device from them. You're going to need some kind of POS or point of sale system where you can type in what it is that they want, like a register type of an idea. So you're going to need a cash box too, in case they want cash. Got to keep all this stuff in mind. And last but not least, as far as the things you've got to do in the beginning there, and that is copyright your characters and your comics early. I didn't copyright all my characters right away, and ended up with a whole bunch of characters I had to copyright all at once. And let me tell you, that is not a small bill. So definitely copyright your stuff early. Now, the very last thing, as far as setting up conventions. Now, if you want to go to the bigger conventions, you're looking at anywhere between $500 to $1,500 to get tables and stuff, and it is crazy expensive. I personally could not afford it. I wanted to go to something that was more of a medium size and a bit more in my price range, and what I found was a group called Colossus Girl Entertainment. It's an LLC. They have Powerhouse Comic Con, Meadowlark Comic Con, Campbell Comic Con, and California Republic Comic Con, and they are all right around $80 a piece, which is really good, and they're still of decent size. So it's not going to be crickets in there. That's really important. If you are worried about bankruptcy or something along those lines, I am also doing this thing called getting an LLC, and that stands for Limited Liability Company. And what that does is, if you go bankrupt, it pretty much, if your business goes bankrupt, then it stops them from seizing everything you have as well. It keeps your accounts separate. Like I said, it's limited liability. So I mean, you still will be accountable for it, but it stops you from having to declare bankruptcy too. Anyway, I know that was a lot, but there was a lot to get to there. So anyway, I hope this helped, and I hope let me know if there's other things you want to know about doing this. Ask me questions. I'm willing to I'm willing to help you out as much as I can. I'd like you to not have to go through the learning process I did. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Live long and prosper, guys.